Hello guys, today we're continuing the epistemology series and we are covering the rationalist versus the empiricist today, right? And so you have on the left Descartes, Baruch Spinoza, Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz, and on the right you got John Locke, Berkeley, and Hume, very famous philosophers, right? And so how do we get knowledge? Empiricism says that all knowledge comes from experience through your senses. To be an empiricist is belief that there are no innate concepts. All concepts are derived from experience. The mind is a tabula rasa, which just means blank slate, and John Locke says this. And he says John Locke says that experience writes on this blank slate, basically. And so note that John Locke's, Hume's, and Berkeley's empiricism differs in a couple of ways. When I say this, I mean that they differ in metaphysics, right? Their metaphysics is different. Basically, Berkeley's an idealist. Hume and Locke are indirect realists, or aka representative realism. And Berkeley actually critiques John Locke, right? And he critiques John Locke pretty harshly, in my opinion. And so basic empirical beliefs are considered incorrigible and are indubitable, right? Meaning they are infallible or cannot be doubted. For example, I see red. You can see this in Lawrence Bonjour's book where he says that foundationalism basically, or Descartes as well, believed that immediate objects or immediate things that we see that come to immediate consciousness are infallible or indubitable. Like, I couldn't doubt the existence of that, right? And so thus empiricism can be seen as a form of foundationalism. Though I am not denying, though I'm not claiming that every empiricist is a foundationalist, right? I mean, for example, Quine is not a foundationalist, right? Um, so basically, Quine is not a foundationalist. Other philosophers are not a foundationalist, like Lawrence Bonjour, as I mentioned. And so this is just a quick diagram of how basic beliefs and non-basic beliefs work, right? So just to provide more detail by what I'm saying about basic empirical beliefs do not get their justification from other beliefs. It's called non-inferential justification within foundationalism, right? So non-inferential justification is justification that is not derived from other beliefs, and thus they are seen as self-evident, right? They're self-evident, they're obvious, right? They cannot be doubted, infallible. And so rationalism is the idea that reason, and to some extent, innate knowledge, can provide knowledge of the existence and nature of the world. And Plato says experience implies relativism and no certain knowledge. Rationalists believe that knowledge is a priori, right? And a priori is just knowledge that is independent from empirical justification, as previously covered. And so Plato argues that we can only have knowledge of forms. We gain this through reason and recollection, not sense experience. So when he uses forms in Platonic metaphysics, which is just abstract, unchanging, transcendent, outside of time and space, things like numbers, universals, right? And so he uses the slave boy example to demonstrate this, which was just Socrates and a slave boy given. So the slave boy was given a problem, and then Socrates had to help him, but the slave boy easily learned it. Thus, he says that unless we have innate concepts, we would be unable to classify our experiences. So recollection is just simply, in other words, remembering, right? We remember this, right? And so that's basically it. Thank you.